I'm Trevor Lynham. I'm from Lynham Painting, based in Kildare. We cover every aspect of painting and decorating, from interior to exterior painting, wallpaper hanging. We also specialise in hand painted and spray painted kitchen units. To be honest with you, I didn't know much about the Lean programme, but once I heard about it from another business owner, I signed up straight away. Our biggest challenge that we were trying to address when we first signed up for Lean was our sales process, because it was taking way too long from an inquiry end of things to a quotation. When our Lean consultant looked at our process, he said he wanted to cut that down by at least half. He developed a quotation software with us. That's an excellent way to start the quotation process off and basically claw back maybe 10 to 12 hours per week. So we have more time to spend on the jobs to make sure that the customer's happy. We then looked at our scheduling software to see, is there a software out there that could help us bring it along more efficient, but also integrate everything as one. And we landed on one that our consultant recommended. It's all the job scheduling, it's all the quotations, it's all the invoices, all in one area. So it's just so efficient. You have so much more time to think about what else is going on in the business. So basically what we've been doing with our extra time is we've been basically applying Lean to every aspect of the business, whether it's the job scheduling, whether it's the organising the vans, to see how we can get jobs done faster and more efficient, but also to make sure that the customer's happy on the job as well. The local enterprise office make it so easy to sign up for Lean. You literally just go onto their website and sign up. It's that easy. Embrace it because it's going to make your business more efficient.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining this Lean for Micro webinar this afternoon. My name is Sandra Reynolds. I am from Leo, Dublin City. Today's webinar is the last webinar of 2022 for Lean for Micro. It's a collaboration with the 4 Dublin local enterprise offices, including Dublin City, Fingal, Dunleary, Rathdown and South Dublin. So participating in Lean can save you up to 30k in costs. So it's really about operational efficiency. Our next program will commence on the 17th of November and the 24th with 2 group workshops, and then you'll benefit from Lean mentoring consultancy from Jigsaw. So I'm going to hand you over now to Stuart Nelson, and you'll get a chance to hear from Ray O'Brien, a Dublin City client who has participated in Lean. So Ray will share his story and the value he got from participating. Thank you all for taking part today.
That is great. Thanks a million, Sandra, and thanks for having us here again. I might just get a thumbs up, either a Zoom thumbs up, that everybody can see me and hear me okay. Yeah, we can see. I don't know what I'd do if you didn't give me a thumbs up. I'd assume we you couldn't hear me as well, and that you can see the shared screen that we're sharing as well. That's perfect. That's great. So we'll get started. As Sandra said, we are here with the 4 Dublin Leos. So we've a nice tight group with us on the session today on the live call, but then this session will also be recorded for all of those that couldn't attend, and I'll be up on the social media channels later on today as well. I want to start with a question for you though, and the question is, how much time do you reckon you lose across the day on pointless tasks? Okay, so how much time do you lose across the day on pointless tasks? Is it 5 minutes? Is it 10 minutes? Is it 15 minutes? Is it 20 minutes? If you just want to start popping that into the chat, that'd be great. So how much time do you lose across the day on pointless, even thankless tasks? Is it 5 minutes? Is it 10 minutes? Or what is it? So what is Lean, and what is this Lean for Micro program? Well, Lean is an approach to solving problems within your business. And it's about looking inwards at the business, looking inwards at what you do, and start to work out, is this what I see when I look inwards at my business? Do I see perfect meetings, perfect workspaces? Or does it look a little bit more like this, where there's clutter and disorder, there's a bit of chaos, there's time lost looking for equipment, material, files, or folders, Are you or somebody else in your organization the type of person that says, sure, I know where everything is, I can put my hand on anything? In your team, does your teamwork, your communications and your processes, do they flow seamlessly like the guys on the left-hand side here? Or do they fall flat in its face from time to time like the guys on the left? I see some comments in the chat here that people reckon they lose about an hour a day on thankless tasks as well, which is a lot. So there's two people in there saying up to an hour a day on thankless or meaningful tasks as well. So what is lean and what is lean thinking? Well, it's this nice, simple definition. Lean is the belief that waste exists in all processes. And our aim is to eliminate that waste and make sure that we only add value to our customer. Okay, so a nice, simple, lean definition. Lean is an approach to problem solving, which centers around this belief that if you have a process within your business, there's an opportunity for waste to occur within it. And the aim of any kind of lean project or continuous improvement project is to eliminate that waste and only have steps that add value to customers. Lean in itself is remarkably simple, okay? It's a simple concept to understand, but like with anything that involves change, it's not always easy to implement. Change is something that other people need to do, something that we don't like to do ourselves. In essence, lean is taking what we already do successfully within our business, okay, and finding ways to do it quicker, finding ways to do it better, and finding ways to do it better with all of our team. So lean, we work off the assumption that what you do in your business is successful already, and then we work with you to help you find ways to do it faster, better, and together. And that's exactly what Ray O'Brien has done, who participated in one of the more recent Lean for Micro programs from Dublin City. Ray is from a company called Senco, Senco Sensory Company, and they're an Irish-based sensory manufacturing organization, a company that help design and deliver sensory rooms and installations, as well as sensory products as well for children. I'm going to bring Ray in here and let Ray introduce himself and his business and what they do first of all. I'm just going to spotlight you, Ray. Hi, Ray.
Stuart. Thanks very much for bringing me along.
Not at all, and thanks for joining us and giving an hour out of your busy day. When we were chatting beforehand, you asked me what do we want to get from this, and I was like, it's about sharing, experience of the program, and that's really what I want to get to. So Ray, if you want to just introduce Senco.
Okay, well, Senco Sensory Solutions is a company that builds sensory rooms, and we design products for the additional needs market, and we've been doing this for 10 to 11 years now. We've built over 1,000 rooms, and but not as efficiently as we should have been. Now we're a lot more efficient now. Thank God.
Okay.
But we haven't got there yet. We're on the way. We even listening to your presentation there, Stuart, reminded me of when I went onto the program. First of all, I was expecting nonsense, and I got some great advice, and my daughter actually signed me up for the Lean for Micro program because she knows how clever I am and that I know everything, so she basically she didn't want to be the one that said I didn't. We were going around.
So she brought us in and the local enterprise office because she didn't want to tell you weren't doing something right, and she felt other people could. Is that the
exactly?
Okay.
You guys kept calling and I kept dodging the phone call.
Okay.
Because I was far too busy losing my 90% of my time every single day towards stuff that I didn't really need to be doing.
Okay.
But we would be one of the anybody who's going to come on to the Lean for Micro program will have a reason for coming on, and I think you showed a picture of an office there at the start. That could have been my office, before I did the course, and before Eamon McKenna started shook us around a little, and put us on the straight and narrow, and I think it was great, and it's been a great help. Since then, by the way, we've actually gone on. We have a unit just packed on a pallet downstairs going out to Dubai today.
Amazing. Yeah.
And we have 2 units in Virginia in the US. So, you know, and that's all in a short space of time. Now, I wouldn't have known where to start with that stuff if it wasn't for the program.
Okay. And just that signing up, your microphone is a little bit funny, Ray. Your sound isn't perfect, but we'll persevere for the moment. It might just come back by itself.
Sit back a little bit.
Yeah, that's much better. That's perfect. It might be a bit too close to it. So just, you said your daughter signed you up, but you kind of sounded like you were reluctant to get involved at the start. Would that be fair? And why perhaps were you?
Of course, you know, because you basically feel that it's just another one of those books that you read, another one of those courses that you haven't completed, you know, because halfway through you thought it wasn't for you, but you know, as turned out, this was the course for me, you know.
Okay. And so the workshop, the programs as they currently stand, they take place over 2 half days, initially as a group, where there's a training element to it, and it's a lot of discussion. Did you take, what did you take from those 2 workshop elements, which are the fixed, with working with other businesses?
Well, you know, the workshops are great, by the way, and you go away realizing how short, you know, how short you fall from where you should be, you know, because it's eye openers, you know, and it's logical stuff, you know. I mean, you're basically seeing where you're leaking your time and just wasting your day, you know. And we all feel that we haven't got enough hours in the day. Well, we do if they're organized properly, and you know, that's what Eamon did for me. He gave me structure to my day.
Okay, and so the program is, as I said, it's in 2 parts. There's the group workshops, which you mentioned, and I hope you didn't walk away with your head in your hands after it.
Did, actually, and I still have my pig here.
You still have a picture of your pig.
Actually, I still have my.
Brilliant. Oh, and your challenges. So
my challenges.
Yeah, one of the things we do within the workshops is get people to draw a picture of the challenges that they're experiencing, and really is to get people to kind of come up with, to think a bit differently, you know, which really is the overarching theme of all of this, is to think a bit differently. And the workshops take place as a group component, so we get to hear from other businesses as well as our own, and the similarity of the challenges. But then you've mentioned Eamon a couple of times. Then it gets into the one-to-one component, where a lean coach comes and works with you in your business, on your business. And what was that experience like?
That was brilliant. I'm just after looking at this page, actually, and if you look at the one on the top, I never noticed this. It's a picture of a boat with export written on it.
Yeah.
I just told you, sure, we sent out our first export this morning.
Yeah, that's amazing.
No longer, you know. So there you go. Eamon was great, and he was always available, you know. So any issue I had, if he didn't know the answer, he went away and he found out the answer, or he would have a contact. Somebody was having an electronics issue, you know, and he contacted people for me on my behalf to ask the questions that you know, that were pertinent to the problems that I had, you know. He always came back with an answer.
Okay, and what kind of improvement? So what came up? So lean is about kind of like process improvement. It's an unfortunate name, but it's about process improvement. So it's about looking at what we do, and it's finding ways to do it better. Yeah. So what was obvious, or what came up for you and finding the better ways of doing things?
Well, for example, we have carpentry and we have upholstery in our products. So we're unbalanced, and I didn't realize almost 2 to 1. So the upholsterer was run, you know, off his feet, and the carpenters didn't. They had to slow down very slightly just to keep, you know, to balance it out. Whereas bringing in another part-time staff member, we could up the upholstery end, and the carpenters could go at full speed. So we increased their productivity, which isn't huge. We're small. There's only 15 of us here in this company, but we're about 1.5%, 1.25% to 1.5%, because our stuff is or 150%, should I say, because our stuff is bespoke.
Yeah.
We could have a week where we underproduce and the next week we overproduce. What we have done is nobody's ever left waiting for work. Everybody's always busy, and that was a big deal, you know.
Okay, so you did have a situation where there was people standing around, not standing around, because no one ever stands
No,
around.
there could have been, yeah, well, they wouldn't have been. They'd been finding stuff to do, but it was stuff of no value to what they were capable of doing. I mean, they all had their own skill sets. So, and a big problem for us would be, for example, if we're on a job and somebody was out sick, there would be a void. We don't have a void anymore because we have trained our other staff to fill in, you know, to do. So it might take 3 people to do the job of one skilled person, but they can do it, you know, between them.
Okay, and you mentioned that concept of the work being unbalanced. You meant how it was presented that the upholsterers had more to do than the carpenters. Was that the way it was around?
You had double the amount of carpenters feeding the upholsterers, so there was bound to be a
backlog
at some stage. You know?
Yeah.
What it also leads to is a massive buildup of partially finished product, which is taking up, you know, space in a very confined area anyway. You know, we could do a bigger, more space. But in reality, we could also do it less block, you know.
Okay.
So there is somewhere in between. But we have a better idea of the extra space we do need now, you know.
And if you don't mind here, Ray, what I'm going to do is I'm going to share back a slide because it might just put in focus. It might just put in focus what you're talking about for the people that are here as well. So I've just shared a screen here to just make sure everybody can see that. Okay, the 8 wastes, and this is what Ray is referring to as part of the as part of the work that was done, as the elimination of waste from the business and from the process. And that's really what lean is, Ray, isn't it? It's about the elimination of waste from the process. In lean, we have these 8 wastes, okay, and they fall into this acronym of downtime, and they stand for defects, overproduction, waiting, non-utilized talent, transport, inventory, motion, and excess processing. And that's what Eamon was looking for. I don't know if he used all of these terms with you all the time. I know we talked about them in the workshop, but this is what he was trying to identify in your process. Is that right?
Yeah, and it wasn't very hard because he could have thrown a dart at that.
Yeah.
Poster, and he hit you know, one that was a problem for us. Even the overproduction one, you know, we make 3 of them because we're on it. You know, and you might be sitting on 2 for another 6 months. You know?
Yeah.
So
and that point you made about the waiting, you know, that you kind of had, you know, double the amount of carpenters feeding into, you know, half the amount of upholsterers, and that was creating a bottleneck, was it?
It is a bottleneck, you know.
Yeah.
And then your panic is that if down one, you know, even down a person on the side that's already overworked, you know.
Yeah.
That's another issue.
And sometimes those bottlenecks are obvious, like if you see people, you know, waiting for work and then people backlogged, but they're not always obvious. But sometimes you might just see the waste, and this is why the waste, you know, image here is important. Is that you might just see that there's work, like, and that work that Ray was talking about, you know, that there was carpentry work was done waiting to be upholstered. We might not know what's happening or why it's happened, but we can just see that something is waiting, and that serves as a sign to ask a question. Did Eamon ask a lot of questions?
Yes, answered because I'm a little bit pushy anyway. But he was, you know, he was only sure to get a phone call at 2 o'clock in the morning. Listen, I have this.
Yeah. Okay.
But he was, you know, I have to say he was available, like, you know, and he always had an answer. And as I said, if he didn't have the answer, he'd find it. You know, he'd ask somebody else. You know?
He knew the questions to ask as
That's
well.
It's not what it's about. I didn't know where to go. Like you were saying to me there, Stuart, that those problems are pretty obvious. Yes, they are pretty obvious because you've got a guy standing there and he, you know, doing nothing. Where but the solution isn't that obvious.
No.
It's not obvious that you can bring in a half a person instead of a full person. A half person, obviously, you're doing 19 hours a week, and that really takes the burden off. Because, sorry.
No, you go, Ray, you go.
So in our upholstery end, as well as the actual covering of the products, we have the foaming of the products. If somebody is jumping from foaming to cutting to wrapping, well, there's 3 jobs that person is actually doing. So if we could streamline that down, that he's just cutting. Well, actually, we have the girls in our sewing department now doing a lot of the cutting. So he's just wrapping, and then we have somebody who does the foaming. Just for 4 hours in the morning, and that is enough to keep him going for the whole day. So the bottleneck is gone.
Yeah, and you mentioned that the solutions are hard to find, but one of the things we advocate and Lean advocates, and we would have set this out for you in the workshop and the name as well, is spending more time on the problem than the solution. It's very hard to identify a solution if we haven't really dug down around the problem. And yeah, we might say that finding the solutions is the problem, but really the first thing is to spend more time on the problem. I always use the saying, and I don't know who's saying it is to fall in love with the problem, not the solution. And that's one of the things with Lean and Lean projects is you spend, let's not move on to coming up with ideas for how we can fix it. Let's make sure we're fixing the right problem, and we might have thought that bottleneck, would be, fire the upholsterer or take on more upholsterers, or we need better upholsterers. But really, it could be a different issue. It could be the level of upholstering that we have to do, or the detail that's been done, or the speed at which the carpenters are working at, or the way the work is scheduled. And it's to understand as many reasons as possible for the waiting, or for the symptom that we see, whatever waste it is, and then trying to come up with a solution for each one. Because usually the answer, if you put more resources at it, there's very few problems in an organization that more resources or more sales won't fix. But you don't always have them or the budget to do them. So it's about looking for other ways for fixing it. But it's back to looking at the problems first, right?
While you're fixing, you're not selling.
Absolutely, yeah.
So and that's another thing. I mean, you have to. I suppose my forte would be I design and I sell, and like if I'm constantly chasing tail, trying to fix problems, you have less time to sell, less time to design.
Yeah.
So it's just the circle of problems.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And you have these other wastes that were present in your in the business that you worked on that you noticed, obviously.
Yes. Just pick any of them and I'll tell you a story about each of them. Like there's like defects, efforts, cause having to rework, scrap or incorrect information, having a graveyard full of stuff. You say, oh, we'll sell that to somebody else, blah, 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 because it wasn't built properly, because the measurements were wrong, or the information was wrong,
Okay.
That's got to be a big deal there. And the amount of time you can save by not having that problem.
Okay, so the the defects, the scrap and the rework, from that as well. Yeah.
It's also given us a really good idea to move away from bespoke, and do more generic, where one size fits all. And over production, we spoke about the weighting, we've spoken about unutilized talent. There you go. So, for example, in our upholstery situation, we realized there was an awful lot of stuff that upholsterers were doing that didn't need an upholstery or an upholsterer. It just needed somebody with basic skills. So, the girls on the sewing machine would have had those basic skills, and they can lighten the burden as well, and they would enjoy it too, because it's new, and it's different.
And they're getting to develop as well.
Yeah. We do try, to keep everybody interested in what they're doing,
I might just get you just to sit back again, Ray, if you could. Yeah, that's great, perfect. Yeah. So and you're, huh?
You should have made your slide bigger. I couldn't read it.
Just we'll zoom in. We'll zoom in next. But I mean, it's interesting. You talked about, you know, the opportunities for people to upskill or to do different types of work, and the importance of that as well. You know, so people who perhaps weren't doing upholstery were able to learn a bit more about it, as well as lightening the load of the upholstery team. You know, they were actually gaining a new skill as well. Which is
Motion
great.
would be an issue still, and it is a big issue because we are restricted for our space. So we tend to, all of our staff tend to have to do more walking than they should do. You know,
Okay.
like our copier, photocopier, printer is downstairs. You know, and not in the office here. I'm sure that would save time. You know, but we don't have the luxury of doing that. You know, that sort of way. So there's an awful lot of stuff you can pinpoint, you can recognize, you can keep it, you know, on your notepad, but you're not going to be able to fix it immediately. At least you know it's an issue.
Yeah, and I mean that's the beauty of the waste and the waste audit, is that, you know, and we talk about things that can be changed now, and things that and they should be changed, and they won't really affect, you know, they'll only have an improving effect, and things that we can't change because of current technology, current systems, current regulation, whatever it might be, but they're still an issue, and they need to be recorded somewhere. And I think it's important you mentioned that as well. Just in terms of the actual the program, you know, what impact would you say it's had on yourself and the business, you know, for the future? You know, so you've saved time, you feel like you feel like you save time, you save money by getting this support and taking part in the program. You know, what difference has that made? You mentioned the first export order there to Dubai. What other impacts has it kind of had on the business?
Well, and this might happen for anybody else who goes on to the Lean from Micro program, but what happened was realized the value of our product and how good it was. And then I made a phone call I had been putting off a year or so to incorporate an idea with another successful entrepreneur here in Ireland. And they jumped on it, you know, because it was a really, really good idea. But I hadn't pitched it before, you know, because we were bogged down doing other stuff. So since then, we launched that same product that we built together. We had it built within 2.5 months of my first workshop, and we presented it to the public at the Ploughing Championships, which is and we got great interest in it there, and we had it in the RDS Ideal Homes exhibition.
Brilliant.
2 weeks ago, which is an exhibition I would never have dreamt of being able to, you know, to go to and to set up a proper display at.
And do you think, like, what was it about that enabled that? Was it that you were lifted out of the day-to-day and had more time for kind of thinking, or?
Sales head on, you know, which I had been neglecting for a while because I'd been too busy, you know, doing other stuff. We could be chasing money, we could be, you know, making sure our insurances on our vans is up to date, or, you know, stuff like that, or dealing with people who are absent, you know, due to illness or COVID or whatever. And that's instead I put my sales hat on and I just sat down, I took my notes, I spoke to Eamon McKenna about it, and he redirected me a couple of times and said, well, maybe this would be a better approach. And eventually we came up with a plan. And that plan, and I should have probably started off with this, because that was the main benefit of this whole program to me. It gave me the wherewithal and the information I needed to present this new product to an already successful entrepreneur. And they jumped at it because they liked it. It was the idea polished off by Eamon McKenna at the end, you know.
Yeah. Okay, brilliant. So it kind of helped you just bring all that kind of structure. And I mean, there's a lot of people on the call today, and a lot of people watching kind of later on as well, in terms of, you know, who are thinking about taking part in the program. you know, but maybe are hesitant or not sure if it's for them. I mean, what would your advice be to them?
I'll jump in because it knocks the cobwebs off you. You know, it gives you new direction sometimes, and it highlights stuff that you might be in denial about. You know, like that. You know, you need to make changes. You don't know what changes, and then when your trainer or your mentor starts to pick at them, you can see them. They're very, very obvious.
Okay, and you were hesitant at the start, were you?
I didn't answer the phone to you a couple of times. I was very busy.
Okay, were we relentless? Yeah.
You know? Oh, and then my daughter just signed me up. So good luck. And
Okay.
no, I'm not looking. I haven't looked back since.
Okay, no, that's great to hear.
I'm doing another one soon as well. I just heard that.
You're going for another one. Oh, brilliant. You know, so some companies, you know, can take part in multiple lean programs, you know, depending on the company and so on, and work on different aspects of the process. So Ray sounds like he's going to go again. That's fantastic. Ray, thanks a million for your time today. I really appreciate it, and I know that there's nothing kind of encourages people to take part like other people sharing their stories, so it's great to hear that as well, and well done on all your progress and your export order to buy as well. So I'm sure everybody will give a virtual round to where
the US as well.
to the US as well.
Yeah.
So I'm sure everybody will give you a virtual round of applause there for your time, and thanks a million, Ray, for your time today. Thank you. So I mean, thanks, Ray. So you know, a great story there from Ray and how lean has impacted his business, and what it's done for him in terms of making kind of changes. I think it's funny he was talking about his reluctance to sign up, and how it was another member of the business, or his daughter in this case, that actually pushed him and said, look, you need to do this, you need to get out there and improve, because you know, Ray's situation, as he was describing it there, was he was very much in the business, in the day-to-day, and really wanted to kind of get out there. And I could heard the story there about the about now kind of partnering up with another investor and taking their product to the next level as well as exporting. And nobody is questioning how hard everybody works every day. Okay, all of us are going in, we're putting in the hours. It's what effort we're getting out of those hours and what return we're getting from them as well. And as we popped up that slide about waste, you know, the reality of it is, for a lot of us, a lot of those hours are filled with activities that contain these 8 wastes within lean. And that's what the program looks to do, is looks to find, you know, where across the day are we losing the time. And it's usually in one of these categories that we discussed in some sections with Ray there, these 8 wastes of our processes. And we're not saying that every step in the process or the entire step contains waste, but parts of the process or parts of the steps have waste within them. And those wastes are defects, so issues or errors, missing postcodes or damaged items, overproduction, producing sooner, faster, or in greater quantities than the customer needed, waiting, like you heard Ray talking about. It's not just about the workers waiting on things to do, but it's the work waiting for work to be done to it as well. So we had work in progress there. So many of us have a backlog or a queue of things that have to be done that we're not processing. Non-utilized talent, somebody who can grow the business and develop the business, make those connections at networking level with entrepreneurs, but is stuck in the day-to-day of the business because there's, you know, doing insurance on vans or whatever it is, because we haven't standardized that process. Transportation, the unnecessary movement of equipment, inventory, too much product on hand and the customer needs. Motion, so Ray said, still work needs to be done in motion. Motion can involve just bringing things closer together. It involves our people, it involves our equipment, or it involves our work moving around as well. And excess processing, bringing things to a higher standard than is required to complete the task as well. And it's by looking at those 8 wastes within our processes that we start to see opportunities for improvement and opportunities to improve things. Because that's really what lean is about. It's about process improvement. And as part of that process improvement, we want to have respect for people. We want to make sure that it's a team effort with all of our people as well. It's about admitting that it's okay to be wrong from time to time and asking for help. That can be internally and externally. It's recognizing that continuous improvement is just that. It's continuous and it's endless, and you're never kind of done. But along the way, we get better all the time. It's about recognizing that a lot of what we do across the day is waste and it is inefficient. And it's how can we do it? How can we improve that, streamline it? It's about not worrying about things outside of our process. You know, we can't do anything about the situation, the fuel prices. We can't do anything about external costs. We can't do anything about somebody else's inefficiency. What we can do is what's in front of us. So if it's costed, if our fuel costs have gone up, how can we improve the yield of our product? How can we be more efficient in what we do? Where can we cut costs or make savings in the business in terms of our efficiency and our gains that at least offsets some of those rising costs as well? It's not about, it's like the tortoise and the hare in terms of continuous improvement. It's about being smooth and steady and consistent over a period rather than being fast and inconsistent. And we heard Ray talking about that as well, where he had his guys working, then nothing to do, then working, then nothing to do. So how can we level out that work over time? We see examples of restaurants managing to try and level out demand by having an early bird menu. We see the likes of the B&Qs and the Woodies have pensioner days or pensioner discounts on particular days of the week. They're trying to level out the demand across the week so they can manage the resources better. It's tough work striving for perfection, okay? Takes a lot of effort, but it's a journey that we want to be on. Don't ever worry about not knowing or not having the answers, okay? It's about knowing that it's about always knowing that there is more to know and more to learn as well. And I think we heard that with Ray. He maybe didn't know something, but he went and he asked for help. He heard about it and he went and learned about that as well. And time is never wasted. Every time we talk to companies, they say, you know, it is time that they tell us that this time was wasted or that time is wasted. Time is never wasted. Okay, it's never a measure of waste. It's never a waste. It's only ever a measure of waste as well. One big question we're always asked is lean for our business. Well, absolutely, lean is for all businesses. You know, I know over the last couple of years we've worked with businesses of all different sectors, like butchers and bakers and candlestick makers. A lot of them you will have seen on these talks before. So yeah, absolutely loads of support available out there for businesses. What can you do today? Well, look, say hello. Myself and Sandra, from Jigsaw, we deliver the program with the local enterprise offices. Sandra's here from Dublin City Council. I see Jenny on here from Leo Fingal as well. So there's people here that will actually can actually help you answer questions about the program as well. So do say hello and access the supports that are there. There's an open call for lean programs on nationwide. These links we'll share with you later on. localenterpriseoffice.ie/lean. But primarily for today, as this is a Dublin-based call, we're here to talk about the next Dublin programme, which is taking place on the 17th and the 24th of November. That's this day 2 weeks and the day after that as well. Now, as you heard Ray talk about this earlier on, these are the group training workshops. These take place with other businesses and they take place online over 2 mornings. And really we start to discuss a bit more about lean and how it applies into really your business or any business or any shape and size as well. The biggest part about this program, and I think this is what Ray was mostly talking about, is the part that happens after, is that following on from the group workshops, you're primed and ready to go, and you're assigned a lean coach that will come and work with you in your business, on a one-to-one basis. And it's quite a significant amount of time. It's 5 half days over a 10 to 12 week period of which you get that support. And you'll take a deeper dive into various different aspects of the business and how you can improve the processes there as well. And I think that's what, as much as Ray was kind of saying the value he got from the workshop days, it's the next part which makes this program so unique. It's the one-to-one support that you get in terms of improving your business. Again, we'll share these links later on via email, localenterprise.ie/lean, and there's a link up there for the Submit platform as well, but we'll share them directly with you afterwards, and you can apply for the program. It is significantly subsidized, the program, by the state as well. It has a value of nearly €3,000, but only costs a couple of €100 to take part.
So just, sorry, Stuart, just to say, if you're signing up, there's a payment of 250, but as Stuart said, you're subsidized up to the value of about 3K. So it is a heavily subsidized program. And well done to Ray on the exports to Dubai and the US. That's great news.
Yeah, it's amazing. Yeah.
Yeah, fantastic. Well done.
Thanks, Sandra. So I said €250 there to take part in the program, but for that you get the 2 group workshops, or the true training days, which take place on the 17th and the 24th, and then access to the lean coach, who will work with you on a one-to-one basis for those 5 half days, or 17.5 hours, and then so you calculate it out. The real thing with this is there's over 250,000 micro businesses registered in Ireland, and just under 92% of them are micro enterprises. So like us, the less than 10s and the less than 20s. Okay, and so we make up the bulk of all of these businesses in Ireland. And to the end of last year, only about 1,530 businesses took part in the Lean for Micro project. And they've recorded savings of €17 million, okay? So 17.25 million euros across those 1,500 projects. That's an average of €34,000 per company in reported savings. I mean, this is a program that, as Sandra said, costs 250, but beyond that, it's an investment of your time. And I think Ray would agree with me that, you know, you get out what you put in, okay? But you've got to invest your time in this and improving your business. But you do that, and the savings are there to be made. As you can see, an average of about €34,000 of reported savings per business that is taking part. But beyond that, for many businesses, especially smaller businesses, there's more to money. There's more to it than just the money, because most of us work kind of 80, 70, 80 hours a week in terms of delivery of our small businesses. There's more structure in terms of the work processes. We're not working as hard, we're working a bit smarter in what we do. We're a bit more agile, and the business is more competitive. And we've really heard that from Ray. You know, he was able to lift himself out of the day-to-day because the work was more structured, and go and look at how we can grow the business as well. But really important for us as smaller business and smaller business owners, there's improved owner well-being. Okay, so life gets a bit easier in the execution of the work, and we tend to be able to get home on time and spend a bit more time with our family. Although some people would say they'd rather spend that time at the golf course, but that's up to you to do with whatever time that you save as well. I started out at the start by asking you guys about this hidden week, and about how much time was lost, and some people had up to an hour. But say we only wasted 10 minutes per day, okay? What would that look like over the course of the year? Well, if we wasted 10 minutes a day because we were disorganized, or there was a bit of confusion, or a process wasn't right, that 10 minutes per day would result in about 50 minutes per week. And that 50 minutes per week works out about 2,400 minutes per year, which is about 40 hours per week. So if we waste 10 minutes per day, that results essentially in a week per year. And if we were wasting an hour per day, or 20 minutes per day, you can just multiply and multiply and multiply for that. So for those of us that said perhaps we were losing about an hour a day in thankless tasks, that's about 6 weeks a year that we're losing in terms of inefficiency and productivity. And if we say we haven't got the time or the resources to actually go and work on these processes, or to invest in ourselves in terms of improving our processes, the question is, how can we afford not to do it if we're losing that amount of time today? Okay, so that is us for today. Most important things to remember: if you are interested, we will send out some more information about the links and how you can sign up. The program is taking place on the 17th and the 24th of November. And we'd love to see as many of you as possible on it. And that's us. Sandra, have you anything you wanted to say before we wrap up?
No, I think you've covered everything. Thank you everyone for coming along today, and thanks to Ray. It was great to hear how it's benefited you, and delighted about the export sales. Well done.
Brilliant. So that's great. Thanks a million, Sandra, and we will be in touch in the coming hours with the links to how you can go about signing up and access to the recording for those that are registered and couldn't make it. But until then, thanks a million.
Okay, thanks, Stuart.
Bye.
Okay,
Bye. Bye.
thanks
Bye.
all. Okay, bye.